The news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. For those who are intent on disobeying Guyana's local content legislation, policy leaders have ensured that there are at least 6 punishable offences which carry a summary conviction and a fine. The law states that a contractor, subcontractor, or licensee who submits or causes to be submitted any record or any other information, knowing or ought responsibly to have known that the submission is false or misleading, commits an offence and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $10 million. It continues that a contractor, subcontractor, or licensee who carries out petroleum operations without the minimum local content requirements commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $50 million. This would also take into consideration the bundling of contracts. And as Guyana continues to ignore the advice of financial institutions regarding cheap loans from Chinese lending institutions, the most recently released quarterly Bank of Guyana report has revealed that the country's external debt is overtaken by the money it borrowed from China. In the bank's first quarter report, it was noted that the China Exim Bank accounts for 39.5% of the country's total external debt. Additionally, debt repayment to the China Exim Bank accounted for 82% of debt repayments to bilateral creditors. In the first 3 months of the year, $10.6 million alone was paid to the Chinese lending institution, up by 1.4%. The increase, according to the central bank, was a result of higher principal repayments during the review period. Presently, Guyana's total stock of public debt, which comprises both external and domestic debt, stands at $3.248 billion. Where former Finance Minister Winston Jordan has highlighted efforts made by the previous APNU-AFC government to work assiduously in preparation for the development of the country's oil and gas industry, he has expressed worry over what he believes is the apparent backsliding of the current administration to have crucial legislation and policies to continue to work that was started to protect Guyana. Jordan acknowledged a number of loose ends, including the absence of key mechanisms within the local oil and gas sector, which he insists are not working in the best interest of the state. He pointed out, for instance, that while the last government would have seen the establishment of the country's petroleum commissions as an integral agency to have developed in the earliest stage of the industry, it is still to be implemented under the more than 2-year-old PPPC government. And now let's tell you, 2 weeks ago, Vice President Bauer Jagdeo addressed the issue of contract bundling by the oil companies, inserting that the government will address the matter. However, opposition leader Aubrey Norton believes that this is another empty promise made by Jagdeo, even as local businesses continue to decry the situation, which the local content secretariat has noted is simply an industry norm. Norton believes that a strategic method of addressing this particular issue would be to first listen to the concerns raised before moving to identify measures to iron those out. A third step, which he believes is equally important, would allow for a constant review mechanism that would seek to ensure the issue remains resolved rather than repeat itself. Further, he said that from the PPPC's posture, it is evident that the political group is not concerned about the wider public sector, but rather an elite few. And now let's tell you, Minister of Human Services and Social Protection Dr. Vindhya Prasad on Thursday said that to date, 1,600 policemen have trained to deal with domestic violence cases under the Cop Squad 2000 initiative. In August 2021, Dr. Prasad launched the Cop Squad 2000 initiative, a program with the objective to equip 2,000 police ranks with the requisite knowledge and skills to investigate domestic violence matters and properly protect the victims. Dr. Prasad related that 1,600 policemen have already completed the needed training. Meanwhile, China Harbour Engineering Company, the contractor that was awarded the Chedijagan International Airport Expansion Project, is one of the 2 Chinese-owned companies vying for the contract to complete the upgrades of the East Coast Demerara Highway. The highway upgrade project is one being undertaken by the Ministry of Public Works. This project, according to the ministry, is for the completion of Phase 2 of the East Coast Demerara Road Widening and Improvement Project from Annandale to Mahaika and the construction of a 4-lane road along the railway embankment corridor from Sheriff Street to Orange Nassau. And moving on, a fishing trip out at sea turned into a bizarre mishap on Thursday night after a fisherman got struck by lightning, resulting in him falling overboard and disappearing. Feared dead is 28-year-old Hemnarain Chandradio, also known as Ravin. The man, who is married to 25-year-old Jamila Cyril, with whom he shares 2 daughters, ages 6 and 2, was reportedly out fishing with his brother Navindra and another fisherman known as Romel when tragedy struck. Meanwhile, the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana has submitted financial documents as required by the Minister of Culture following damning accusations about the body's financial accountability by Vice President Bawar Jagdeo some 2 weeks ago. The Vice President accused the organization and its members, specifically its chairman, Vincent Alexander, of pocketing tax dollars from a $500 million sum that was handed to the organization by the state to address issues facing Afro-Guyanese. In an August 31, 2022 letter, said to be from Culture Minister Charles Ramson to the organization's CEO, Olive Sampson, financial records, including payment, vouchers, payroll, contracts, and receipts for all monies spent for the fiscal years from 2018 to the present date, among others, were requested to be submitted by September 5th. And the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has been taking steps within the ambit of the law to clear the city of vagrants. This is despite accusations made by Mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj Narain, that too little is being done to address this protracted dilemma. Mayor Narain recently expressed his dissatisfaction at the manner in which the government has been handling the current issue. In fact, Narain claimed that the City Council has not been receiving any help from the government to initiate a proper plan to remove homeless individuals from the streets of Georgetown. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. But before we go, we have to wrap things up with page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. People power. While some Guyanese are busy sue-suing about things that matter not in the grand scheme of things, there are others who have been speaking out with a view of reversing the tide of indiscretion that threatens to harm this nation of generations to come. Why grumble about things in the privacy of group chats and behind closed doors when you too can stand up and represent the land of your birth? Why must a few be vocal in defense of the masses? Even the Creator won't act if the people remain silent and refuse to flex their muscles. People power, it is the potential that ordinary citizens in a democracy have to change situations that they believe are unjust by demonstrating in non-violent ways. Timidity will get you nowhere in these times.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Be it in Aishalton or in Etteringban, we got you covered. Digicel, better together.